Hello everyone, I'm Morgan, and this is an actual play of the Invisible Labyrinth, a role-playing game I developed. I just want to give a couple notes up at the top of this before I jump into our recording. This is part 1 of 2. The second episode should be coming soon if I've done my job right. The game is available now on my itch.io account. We did the time warp again.itch.io. Right now, what you're seeing is our Miro board for constructing a timeline. Off screen, we also have a playingcards.io board with decks of tarot cards that we use for prompts throughout this game. Additionally, we did some prep before the game. Off mic, we figured out our safety mechanics and topics that we won't be covering. We also came up with our general pitch for the plot of this game, which we forgot to mention on the recording. We're playing out a murder mystery on a big fancy mansion on a private island. You know, kind of like Knives Out, kind of Glass Onion-y. And finally, before we jump into the recording, I want to apologize for the video being kind of out of sync with the audio. I've never edited a video or a podcast before, so it's a little hacked together. The next episode should be better, I hope. Hello, and welcome to the Invisible Labyrinth. This is a tabletop game I wrote, and this is the first recorded run of it after many, many playtests. I'm Morgan Jackson, and I use he/him pronouns. You can find this game and my other tabletop games at wedidthetimewarpagain.itch.io, and you can find my music at wedidthetimewarpagain.bandcamp.com. And joining me are two folks to play the Invisible Labyrinth with me. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Chris, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. My name's Chris Allison, and Morgan and I have been friends for a while. I like to play games, and I'm here to see how weird this gets. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Brendan McLeod. You can find all the stuff that I do at brendanmcleod.com. You can also listen to the other show that Chris and I are both on called Oathsworn. You can also probably hear me on CalazCon these days. CALAZCON, a Beam Saber mega game. Despite all of my self-promotion, I am also friends with Morgan and Chris.
Yay, thank you for affirming that you're friends with me and not just randos I've kidnapped. Alright, so The Invisible Labyrinth is a game for 2 to 5 players about branching timelines, uncertain futures, and escaping what seems inevitable. It is a loose hack of the game Microscope by Ben Robbins, and I'm Sorry Did You Say Street Magic by Caro Assertion. In this game, we will play as a small group of characters as we non-linearly, I don't know why I put that word in the introduction, create a web of timelines about our possible journeys. We are using the Miro interface to create our web of timelines, and then off-camera, we've also got a small playingcards.io setup that has tarot cards for us to draw and use. I like to start the game by reading through the Wandering the Labyrinth section of the game doc, if everyone has that open.
Sure do.
It's a weird game, but I think I've figured out some pretty decent advice for how to make it work. I can start and then we can just pass paragraphs around.
Sounds good.
Yep.
The Invisible Labyrinth is, at its heart, an incredibly non-linear game. This can be difficult for first-time players to wrap their heads around. After all, most of the stories we encounter and play in TTRPGs happen in order from start to finish. It's okay if the prospect of putting together a story, really, several different interlocking stories, from the middle outwards is a little intimidating. Here's some advice that has helped guide play of the Invisible Labyrinth.
Make choices now, make sense later. A core component of the Invisible Labyrinth is going back and rewriting the past in order to make something we've seen happen make sense. This can be literal in the form of flashbacks, or beats placed earlier in the narrative later in the game, but it can also be metaphorical. After all, many times in life, we experience the effect before we understand the cause. The crash of ceramic in the kitchen only makes sense after you stand up to investigate which bowl fell off the counter.
Leave it open to interpretation. Sometimes when creating a scene in the game, it's okay not to commit to something very hard. and to let ambiguities in the story, and to leave ambiguities in the story to be resolved later. That's a classic element of this kind of story. Someone says something vague and mysterious that later becomes crystal clear. This can also be a way to rewrite earlier decisions. People lie all the time, and what's true in one timeline might not be true in another.
Cause problems. The driving question of this game is often, how do we get there from here? Don't be afraid to introduce a scene that seemingly contradicts an earlier story beat, or an ending that makes no sense compared to the others. Half the fun of the game is figuring out how to resolve those seeming contradictions.
Live in the details. It's often useful to focus on a particular moment or timeline, ignoring the rest of the board. Jumping into a particular moment can give you clearer insight into how characters are thinking or feeling at that moment, and the consequences of that can spiral out interestingly later.
Don't lose sight of the forest for the trees. On the other hand, sometimes the details of a particular timeline don't matter all that much in the grand scope of things. Sometimes you just need people to get the hammer from the toolbox, and it doesn't matter that there should be a dead body in the supply closet at the same time. Although the little moments matter, that's not the be-all, end-all of the Invisible Labyrinth.
And finally, break the rules. I'm not your dad. If you know exactly what you need to do next, but it's not in the official rules, don't hesitate to propose doing this to the rest of the people you're playing with. Who cares? Do whatever you need to make the story you enjoy most, and have the most fun with this game that you can. Alright. So we've already talked about safety stuff off camera, or off microphone, I guess. We don't have any cameras. But one thing that I like to do in the setup, alongside lines and veils, and I guess we're doing it after, is wishes. These are things that we for sure want to include in the game, specific aspects of the setting that we're excited about. So on the mirror board, I have a little thing for here that we can write our wishes on. I am going to start by saying one thing I'm excited about is elaborate and unpleasant amounts of glamour. Like, uncomfortably rich characters.
Obscene wealth.
Yeah.
Should we do these on the same sticky note?
Yeah, I think so. That often works.
Alrighty. I'm gonna add just one weird background character element, just something that just keeps showing up in the background to the point that you just start going, how did that get there? Alrighty.
I'm going to add, or I will when Christy selects the.
Oh, wait, yeah. I'm done.
Thanks. I'm going to add unrelenting nature. We're deliberately doing a thing at a big mansion on an island. That's removed from a lot of other stuff, and we're playing with characters that I think are used to getting their way. And Mother Nature gives way to no one. And I want to see that on screen.
Hell yeah. Another thing I would like is just really elaborate locations and settings, that kind of architecturally don't make sense.
Into it.
And over maximalist decoration.
Have we said before, I believe off mic we've talked about this is on Earth, this is in our world. Have we specified what time period this is in?
I don't think so. I'm open to suggestions. I was assuming kind of present day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Game doc describes the sort of default assumption of this game being like 15 minutes in the future, and so I was just kind of working off that until otherwise specified.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I just wanted to call it out.
Cool.
Yeah, good call.
Any other wishes?
I think I'm good.
Cool.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll just quickly go over some of the safety mechanics I wrote in the game doc. We can pause, but just by saying pause at any time if we're moving a little too fast. If the idea you're about to introduce you're a little concerned about and want to check in about, we can stop if you like really need to stop, rewind, go back and rewrite something. If we just want to take a quick water, bathroom, food break, we can take a caesura, and then I'm assuming at the end we will take a grand pause, which is a set of instructions I figured out for leaving the game and coming back, because unlike most one-shots, it takes a little bit more framework to leave the game and turn a one-shot into a two-shot. Yeah, any questions on that?
That all makes sense to me. Give me 30 seconds to close my door so that my dog doesn't keep coming in.
I am extremely relieved. There was a lot of construction rumbling outside in the 15 minutes before this call started, and it seems to have either paused or, fingers crossed, ceased altogether for the day. So
yeah, I had the last 2 days, but it's seemingly not today. There was a ton of construction going on, basically in my backyard.
Oh, great.
Yeah, or technically it's the lot across from my backyard, but considering that part of the construction was tearing down the fence between them.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yep.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Chris and I were both being threatened by construction possibly happening, but
No.
we seem fine right now. Knock on wood.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we can get into kind of fleshing out the setting, adding some more specificity to it. We will be drawing tarot cards to create our initial motif deck. These represent narrative elements that will play a major part in the story. We'll return to these ideas throughout the game, so make sure to make them things we're interested in talking about. We'll start by drawing a major arcana to create the anchor, a flavorful and important aspect of the setting. Maybe this is an ever-present technology, a type of psychic communication, or an aspect of the secret government facility we all work at. So I'll shuffle the major arcana deck. If someone wants to, on the playing cards interface, grab one and drag it to the middle of the table.
Chris, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, sure.
I figure there's three of
that way
us,
it's your
so
fault.
each of us can...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Empress.
The Empress, okay.
So we're all on a big fancy island, and we're big fancy people. The thing that's coming to mind here is some kind of voice, presence, that no matter where you are on this island can still talk to you. Imagine a PA system with just what if Siri was on the PA system? You know what I mean? Just a disembodied lady's voice. That's just hi.
Is this a shared ancestor or something like that? Who owns the island or something like that?
Oh my god.
God. Yeah, there's a sentient ghost in the PA system.
Right.
That's really fun.
There's nowhere on the island you can hide from Mummy Dearest.
Oh god.
Oh god. An ancestral ghost living in the PA system, always audible on the island.
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. I like it when the neutral one already starts out a little bit threatening.
It's got that Disneyland quality to it, where it can be either very broad or it can be very hyper local. So it's absolutely capable of finding you when you're by yourself in the garden and talking specifically to you. But also, if it's got an announcement that it wants everyone to hear, then you better believe everyone's going to hear it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a name for this?
Oh.
ghost PA system. And it's like coming out of speakers, right? It's not just speaking into our heads.
No,
Yeah, I think
it's definitely speakers.
Yeah, I think it's speakers, but like you can't always tell where they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Sometimes it's like, okay, well, that I can see a speaker there, you know, like up on a post or something. But sometimes, yeah, if you're in the middle of a garden, just a voice starts coming. You're like, is that in the hedges? Who? Where? What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, that Disneyland quality of like anything could be a speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, a name for this.
Are we naming the person that it once was or the system?
My thought would be the system so that our characters can talk about it easily.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure why, but the thing that my brain has latched onto and won't let go of is just Susan.
Oh, Susan's really good.
That's good.
All right. Brendan, would you like to draw a card for our guide?
I would love to. Which am I drawing from?
Major Arcana again.
Okay.
The guide is something helpful for our group of characters. Perhaps it's a glimpse of possible future salvation, a secret door, or a helpful NPC. And
Our
it's
guide
always
is the
funny when you draw something like the Hanged Man for this.
Yeah, our guide is the Hanged Man.
That seems fine.
Gang,
Great.
I think this murder mystery night might not go so well for everyone involved.
The Hanged Man is like it like represents sacrifice to move forward. It's to represent repentance and recompensation. It's like it's a card about putting in the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I say again, how is the guide supposed to be represented in the game?
Well, so it's in the motif deck, which means that like when we draw for a scene prompt, it's one of the things that could come up as like the topic for a scene. It is something helpful for us, perhaps obliquely, perhaps directly.
Okay, I think the Hanged Man is the staff that runs the island. I think they are all put upon. They are all well aware of how ornately ridiculous this all is. I don't know if we really want to have like a full upstairs downstairs situation here, but I think that there are a lot of good people here that legitimately look out for one another and who might wind up will definitely intersect in our story in ways that can be helpful or beneficent, or at least not antagonistic.
Yep. Yeah, I like that a lot.
But even if they are helpful, they will never let us forget that they are the help. That our characters are privileged and wealthy and have access to things, material and immaterial, that they will never have access to.
Yeah, no, I like that a lot. Chris, do you have any thoughts? Any further thoughts?
No, I dig it.
Hell yeah. In that case, I will go ahead and draw our adversary. It is something dangerous or that causes problems for our characters. Perhaps it's their captor, a dangerous organization, or a hostile piece of technology. The Wheel of Fortune.
Great.
Pat Sajak is here and he's going to kill us.
The wheel is like ever-changing circumstances, right?
Yeah, ever-changing circumstances, chance. Maybe it's just persistent bad luck for all of the guests on the island.
Like, to the degree that it's known and acknowledged, and maybe there's even a term for it.
Yeah, to the degree that, like, people don't play gambling games because somehow everyone winds up losing.
Yeah, some sort of reputation that it's always had of, if you push your luck here, it's always going to go bad for you.
Any further thoughts?
I like that as an element of a place where, one, we've thrown a bunch of people who are used to getting their way, and two, there's also what was the term? Unrelenting nature.
Unrelenting nature. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the idea that this is like ostensibly a vacation home, a really nice, very expensive place to be, and we really don't like coming here. Bad things always happen when you come here.
Oh, I feel bad for them, but not very bad.
Yeah. I would love if we had a name for this constant bad luck. Like, the curse is a little too pat.
Yeah. Running off of Wheel of Fortune, maybe just the bad roll? Or bad draw? Bad hand? I don't know.
I like the bad roll.
Sure.
As a person who dice hate, I can relate to
that. Sure.
I'm so glad you're playing Kingdom in Oathsworn right now, a game that involves tons of dice.
Finally a reprieve.
Oh! What if? Let me chop it and twist it just a tiny little bit. So, snake eyes is the expression for double ones, which is typically a very bad roll.
Mm-hmm.
What if, because we're like privileged rich idiots, we call it snake's eyes?
Oh my god. Possessive?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just like, I was trying to play croquet, but it rained that day. It's a real snake's eyes situation. Exactly.
And if there's anyone else, they look at us like we're a Seinfeld NPC, and they're like, what? What did you say?
I love the idea that Seinfeld has NPCs.
It does.
It does! It's the thing.
Yeah, just, a quirk that is very plainly wrong, but we're so rich that no one can or will correct us.
Yeah, I love it. And we're not even, using it right.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Oh, that's really good. I really like that. All right. Any further details of the setting we want to flesh out now that we have these specific elements?
Yeah, so just because I know we talked about this again off mic before this, but for the sake of this recording, do we want to say what we had figured out about our genre / setting?
Yes. Yeah. I think we'd talked about it being a murder mystery on an isolated island. We wanted nothing explicitly magical or psychic, and maybe kind of constant fake outs about is there a psychic thing happening or a magical thing happening? No, it's just people behaving strangely, or there's some explanation until we can't find one. And I think Knives Out and Glass Onion were our big kind of genre pulls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any further thoughts on the setting? Maybe we haven't drawn our character cards yet, but maybe are we a family? Are we...
Yeah, what are we
us doing? One rich person hosting more idiots? Are we...
Yeah, I remember that we called out that one of the things that we wanted to do a little bit differently from Knives Out and Glass Onion was that we are not featuring necessarily an outside investigator who's quote unquote normal.
Yeah.
Because, or a group of investigators for that matter, because we're focusing on this weird, eccentric family dynamic. of people that are like protagonists, but are also strange and quirky, but are interconnected with one another already. I realize after we had that conversation that I think what I'm pulling on there is Arrested Development.
Oh my god!
Sure.
Where the protagonists are their own antagonists, basically.
Yep.
They're own at each other's. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Arrested Development, but there's murder is perfect to me.
Yeah. What if Arrested Development was the cast of Clue?
Yeah, I love it.
Ideal.
Are we? Do you think we're like Arrested Development? Do you think we're a family, or are we unrelated people who have gotten ourselves into a Bluth situation with each other?
I mean, the family angle is a little bit easier for me to understand how all of these people who don't like this island end up here anyway, because, like, that's just a family vacation.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it being a family situation where our family links are less clear-cut than even, like, an immediately extended... Like, we're second cousins to one another. We're aware of one another.
Kind of thing where, like, of course I'm going to bring my guest along.
Sure.
Never met any of these people and is not going to have a good time, or knows these people and does not want to go, but is being dragged along anyway.
Totally.
All right. In that case, we can create our characters. While we're going to be playing in an expansive branching timeline, we'll use these characters to keep our game anchored to their stories and relationships. Everyone draw one major arcana and keep it face down in front of you. Do not say what it is. And we can take this time to quietly create our own characters with their name, pronoun, and a short description. And without telling the rest of the table, create a big secret your character has, inspired by the major arcana you've drawn. Write this down where nobody else can read it. That secret will be tied to the major arcana currently in front of you. When that secret comes to light, you'll flip that card over and add it to the motif deck so that it keeps coming up through the rest of the story.
Alrighty.
I guess I can start. My character is Alistair Young, he, they pronouns. They're the best friend of the presumed inheritor of the island. Their roommate in college who now manages several industrial manufacturing plants at a pretty young age. He's only in his 20s. Very bad at his job. He's got dark wavy hair with blonde streaks, wears badly fitting suits, is usually snacking on something. My celebrity face cast for him is Lucas Gage. And they've spent most of this vacation trying to figure out if they actually get worse pulls from the gacha game he's usually playing while on the island because of the snake size.
Great.
Snakes, they'll get you. We just going left to right?
Yeah.
Alrighty. My character is Kennedy's son. Also Ken, Kenny, Eddie, Sonny. It's all good. It's all chill. They, them pronouns. They're in their 30s, very tan in a stays at the beach kind of way. They got the cutoff shorts, tank tops, no shoes ever, because shoes are the prison of the body. Kennedy is a hugs person. Doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter when I last saw you, you're getting a hug. It's never really clear what it is that they do, but they're always talking about doing something. And it's also not really clear how they're related to anyone in this family, but They are friendly with everyone. They have clearly met people here before, and it's just were you someone's ex or something?
Great. I'm playing Hercules Cross, he, him pronouns. Hercules is a 50-something bachelor. I think is not really the black sheep of the family, but spent a long time away. Went out west to get into quote-unquote business. And seems to have done well for himself, ? Is now in early retirement. Sort of moved back, but has brought a lot of his West Coast, desert California lifestyle with him. Has aviators on at all times, wears golf polo shirts, has a big gray mustache, smokes cigars, listens to vinyl records, always has a cocktail in hand. Brought at great expense an electric golf cart to the island so that he can drive it around in his preferred way. It's probably a very luxury golf cart model with a lot of like bonus features that you don't find on a normal golf cart, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Unbelievable.
Yeah, big like, oh shit, the uncle that no one wanted to invite, but we were obliged to invite kind of energy.
Mm-hmm. He had to give the invitation, but we're hoping that he wouldn't accept it.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. Introduce your characters to each other. Then, as a group, decide which character has the most unearned confidence. They'll take the first turn of every round. I do think Alistair.
Yeah.
I did do this a little bit intentionally, so that as the facilitator, I could take the first turns.
Sure.
Which I think is actually retroactively brilliant design on my part, which is that if you're trying to facilitate this game, you have to play the dumbest guy in the room.
Well done.
All right. In turn order, tell the player to your left what your character needs from their character. So I'll be saying what Alistair needs from Kendi. Kris, you'll say what Kendi needs from Hercules. And Brendan, you'll say what Hercules needs from Alistair. And they will respond with why they can't give it to you. This need can be as basic as advice or as complex as forgiveness for being a bystander while your family was destroyed.
Jesus.
Great.
So I think Alistair wants...
Is it wants or needs? Because those imply different levels of like, importance. Or is it either?
Let's go with needs. They can be pretty frivolous needs, but I think the characters often... I think it's useful for the characters to think of them as needs.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's a good shout. Alistair needs to finally spend some real quality time with Kendi. I'll just make this a little bigger so that you have space, Kris, to say why Kennedy won't do that.
Won't do that. Kennedy will not spend a whole lot of time with Alistair, especially not one-on-one, because, the snake's got you in its sights, bud. I just can't be around that kind of energy.
Oh, I love it.
You get the eye of the snake upon you.
You know, like the song, it's the eye of the snake, eyes. Yeah.
It's upon you.
Okay, bad vibes.
Yep.
I don't need them. I don't want them. Yeah, what Kennedy wants from Hercules, what Kennedy needs from Hercules is that golf cart, dog. That's... I think I know, like, a trail where I could Tokyo drift that shit and it would be sick.
Unbelievable. I won't do this because one of the perks of this golf cart is a safe, and the safe has some important documents in it that I am hiding from the government.
Great. Is it like a hidden safe? It's a hidden safe, yes?
It is, yeah.
Okay, great. I don't even know it's there.
Yeah, it's like under the container that's under the seat or something like that. So it's like under the cooler.
If you open the seat, it's a cooler. You take out the cooler, there's a lockbox. Yeah.
There you go.
Great.
Yep. Hercules needs Alistair to pay him back. Hercules. I think Alistair is in to Hercules for a massive sum of money.
Mhm.
Probably has been digging themselves deep for a while. Something on the order of multiple thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
But maybe deliberately undefined.
Maybe even multiple tens of thousands of dollars.
Yes.
Yeah, these are terrible rich people.
Yep. Alistair won't pay Hercules back because all of his money is tied up in pork futures.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay.
How are pork futures looking these days?
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, you get the eye of the snake upon you.
Yeah. All right. So we've created our characters. Now it is time for us to describe the basics of the curtain rise. It's the first part of our timeline, and it's the first scene we as players care about. We're finally going to start building the timeline proper, which I've placed below the characters. The curtain rise is down and to the left. It is it's the first scene we care about. It's kind of the branching point and first scene of a visual novel kind of vibes. It should be a scene where a lot of possibilities can come out from it, and it's kind of the beginning of action. Going around the table in turn order, we should add one detail, but we can talk about broad scope what our thoughts are for this very first scene.
Should this be a murder or the discovery of a body?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
My thought would actually be to start ramping up the tension a little before a murder happens.
Okay.
So that we can get possibly several different murders. But if we want to start with
Sure.
one singular murder and then add more murders as timelines branch out, that also works for me.
What if the curtain rise is something before a murder happens, but it's like Susan coming over the speaker or something and letting us know hey, there's a storm approaching.
Ooh. Yeah.
Everybody stay inside for a little while.
Here's let me embellish just a tiny bit. Maybe this is the first night that we've all arrived at the island.
People kind of get there staggered.
Yeah, and this is the presumed inheritor is throwing a party that night or something like that.
Jesus. Yeah, I could dig that.
Cool. I like that a lot. So, I think the detail I'm going to add to this is that I think despite being the guest of presumed inheritor Janice Thrall, I'm going to go with the name.
Okay.
Alistair has been avoiding her all night.
Oh dear. I will add the detail. Let me just see here. About the place you're in, how you got there, or a detail about your own character. I think Janice's... I think another person at this party, maybe Janice's... I'm torn between mom and sister. But that person's first priority is that her pet tiger is just roaming out there, and she has to go and get it back
Oh my
inside.
god. Oh my god.
Very good, very good.
You could compromise between mom and sister and do aunt.
That's true. What is an aunt, but... Okay.
Hercules has insisted on bringing the golf cart inside from the rain, and so has been coercing the help into clearing space in the foyer so that he can, like, drive it up the steps and inside.
The steps. They're building little ramps.
No. It's got 4-wheel drive. It can go upstairs. I just need them to move, like, the statuary and stuff like that out of the way.
Great.
Incredible. And don't worry that if we're not particularly detailed here, we'll be able to return to the curtain rise later with the benefit of hindsight to create important details to foreshadow events that haven't happened yet, but that will have already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then I guess simultaneously we'll each create our own coda and then introduce them in turn order. If you'd like inspiration, you can draw a card from the Minor Arcana deck and consult the oracle tables in the appendix of the game for a prompt. A coda is a possible ending to the timeline you're building. It's a conclusion to the curtain rise. It's not inevitable, and no coda is more true than any others, but some may have more revelations than others. These don't need to lean into being particularly happy or unhappy endings. It's not a visual novel with, like, a good ending, bad ending. Instead, let them be confusing and compromised. We'll solve the problem of how we get there from here during the game. You don't need to add too much detail. We'll be able to come back to these later and flesh out anything important that come as a result of later revelations about earlier events. And then give it a name after describing it. Either a name you come up with for yourself or the name of the card it was based on. These are mostly so people can talk about them easily, but also so you can provide thematic hints about your character's secret. Place the codas far away from the curtain rise. You'll create paths of events leading out from the curtain rise to the codas. And if you drew a minor arcana card, put it in the discard pile on the playing cards interface. I preset beats and codas that we can just copy paste to build our timeline out.
So a coda is like the end of the movie or the book or something like that,
yes.
right? It's not the end of a chapter.
Yeah, it's end of the story levels of ending. The way I think of it is like if you have a visual novel with branching paths or something, it's like, oh, this is the axe ending where our protagonist got murdered by an axe.
Got it. Okay.
Real 999 heads now.
I have a normal number of heads.
Do these codas have to be of our individual characters, or is it just a situation?
Okay. They do not, but they can be. They do not have to be, though.
Gotcha.
All right. Is everybody's codas ready?
Yep.
I think so.
All right. As the player with the character with the most unearned confidence, my coda is Pinchin' on the Shore. Alistair throws a Molotov cocktail from the boat at the house before turning to the speedboat's controls and desperately trying to figure out how to pilot it. As the flames begin to lick the pier, an ember blows from it onto his ugly purple blazer.
Okay.
Normal.
Okay. Yeah.
Chris.
My coda is called Too Furious. Others dive out of the way as Kennedy drives a golf cart at, through, and past them off a cliff.
Cool. Great. Mine is called God Moving Over the Face of the Waters. A gunshot rings out and Hercules lies dead on the roof of the mansion. The FBI teams converge on the mansion from all sides as the sun begins to rise.
Excellent. I think we've gotten the tone of the game perfect. All right, let's take maybe a 5-10 minute break to get water, etc., before we jump into the regular gameplay loop.
Sounds good.
We'll now begin the normal cycle of play. Every turn has 2 parts. You do 2 actions, one of which is creating a beat, and then you have 6 possible actions you can do. To create a beat, you draw 1 card from the motif deck and 1 from the minor arcana deck, unless you already have a clear idea about what you'd like to add to the timeline. The card from the motif deck will provide a setting element. Right now, that's just the anchor, guide, and adversary that will be involved in the scene, while the minor arcana will provide a prompt for play. That's in the appendix at the end of the game document. Describe an event happening to your character and others with player's permission that involves the setting element you drew. This should generally be a self-contained scene, but if you think that, for instance, a conversation might branch out in several different ways, you could break up one scene over several different beats. You don't need to get into role-playing the scene directly. Instead, give an overview of an important event or a decision. A beat can be connected up to 2 other parts of the timeline, another beat, a coda, or the curtain rise at this time, and it should be a relatively direct connection in time. If you feel like the beat needs a little more explanation for how it leads into or out of a beat, coda, or the curtain rise, add a sentence or 2 on the line connecting them. If the explanation ends up lengthy or interesting, maybe it's best to leave that to be its own beat. It's also okay to make a beat that just is floating around on its own for the moment. You'll figure that out how to incorporate it into the story later. Surprising and disconnected beats can provide a lot of interesting changes in the game. You don't return cards to the motif deck until the deck is empty. This is so all of the motifs get equal treatment during the game. Cards drawn as scene prompts do not become part of the motif deck and should just be discarded. Minor arcana and anything for scene inspiration should go to the discard. I am going to obviously take my first action, which will be creating a beat. And I think this is going to be a beat that comes directly off of the curtain rise. And it'll be Alistair takes off running from the lounge where Janice had been having a party. And heads inexplicably towards the tool shed. All right. And I will now introduce the other 5 things you can do for your second action. You can play out a scene. You can add a link. You can add another coda. You can add a detail to another scene. You can add another beat, like you did for your first thing. And you can add a new secret. To briefly summarize, playing out a scene actually involves jumping into character and trying to answer a narrative question about the scene, the characters, the situation. Creating a link is just adding another connection between beats, codas, curtain rise, etc. Creating a new coda is like we did at the beginning, just adding a new possible ending to the timeline. Adding a detail lets you go back and revise previous things. And adding a new secret, you draw another major arcana card, and it becomes another secret your character has. In terms of revealing these secrets, you can reveal any secret you have at any time if it's narratively appropriate, even if it isn't your turn. Flip over the face-down major arcana in front of you and reveal your secret to the table, then add it to the table add that card to the motif deck. Revealing secrets is how you end the game. If you're getting to the point where the timeline is starting to become comprehensible, something you can picture in your mind, something where most things are seeming connected, it might be helpful to intentionally make moves to reveal your own secrets and to ask other players what kinds of scenes you could frame that might help them reveal theirs. I think I will, when we do those other actions, I will read out the more detailed description then, but for now, any questions on the actions you're able to take? All right. In that case, I'm going to be a little boring and just add another beat.
Makes sense.
And I think this one not connected to anything. And it'll just be, with your permission, Brendan, Alistair wrestles the gun out of Hercules' hands.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Sure, I like that. What kind of gun do you think it is?
Ooh. Yeah, this is
Okay.
the small hand pistol. All right. Chris, it's your turn.
Alrighty, I am going to draw for the deck. So, one from the motif deck, and one from the minor arcana. Our motif is, the eyes. I got the Wheel of Fortune, so that is that our adversary?
Mm-hmm.
It was. That's the bad luck. That's the snake's eyes. And the minor arcana is the Two of Cups. So I'm going to go to the table in this. So there's two oracle tables here. Do we want to stick to the darker table or the lighter table as they're labeled?
My instinct would be the darker table, since that has murder in it, and the things like death and violence are cut out of the lighter table.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So for the Two of Cups here, 2 is an accusation is leveled. Love that. And cups for a complication or a mystery or something good. I guess I pick which of those 3 things I want.
So it could be an accusation is leveled that makes an opportunity vanish, or that brings into question everything we know, or that opens a secret door.
Ooh. Okay. I think that brings everything we knew into question. Some more mystery. I think that this beat then is going to go... What? Sorry. I just noticed the snake.
Hey, the snake.
Emoji next to the adversary. Thank you for that. Oh, that caught me off guard.
Wait, I can make this snake more ominous.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, I'm not looking right now, but when I look back later, I bet it's going to be fun. I think this is on the same line as Alistair running away. Oh, right, but this has to be with my character in it.
Not necessarily. No,
no?
You can use your character and others. Towards the beginning of the game, I usually recommend getting people's characters out there, but, if you have a really good idea, go for it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can still make it work. Kennedy can still be here. I think it is about Alistair, or Alistair is the topic of discussion. But I think after Alistair takes off, people kind of look in the direction that they've just run, is that wise if there's a storm warning? But and I think Janice's aunt says, see, I told you shouldn't have invited them this year. Of course this is going to happen. And those two get in an argument about what do you mean? Because are you blaming this storm on Alistair? And then I think Kennedy just kind of pipes up out of nowhere, just does have the snake's eyes on him, dude is bad luck. I'm kind of shrugging what you gonna do?
Yeah.
Does that work as a beat?
That's
I don't
perfect.
know if that's too vague or not specific. Okay. Janice's aunt. Also, I have misspelled Alistair twice here.
There's a lot of ways to spell that name, is the thing I recently learned, so...
Yes, but I didn't mean to. I just type bad. Anyway, okay. Actions. I would like to add a detail to another scene.
All right. To add a detail, you simply add information to a previous scene. This is useful for when you'd like to add foreshadowing for something that has already been revealed, or to show a later consequence of something that was already added to the timeline.
Yeah. The beat that... Oh, sorry, did you have something more to add?
No, go ahead. This one's very self-explanatory.
Okay. Yeah, it felt that way. And the detail I would like to add is to the beat that you just made of Alistair running off from the lounge. I think he, has to go outside. Tool sheds, I was going to put that inside. You got to go outside to get there. And as he runs past a hedge, a pair of eyes, bright in that hedge, just follow him.
My boy might be getting tiger murdered.
Alrighty. Done.
Awesome.
My turn?
Yes.
So should I always add a beat as the first action on my turn?
Yes. It's usually easier to organize if the first thing you do is beat and then you choose something else.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Okay, so I don't have a strong idea, so I'm going to draw one for the motif and one for the minor arcana, right?
Yes.
Okay. I've drawn the Hanged Man and the Ace of Cups. So the Hanged Man represents the help. The Ace of Cups, the darker table, is a secret is uncovered that makes an opportunity vanish. Interesting. Okay.
Or that secret could bring everything we know into question.
Oh, I see.
Door.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Great. I like this a lot. Okay, so I'm going to add a beat just coming off of the curtain rise, following on from Hercules having driven the golf cart into the foyer. Hercules is sort of like surveying the room now that he's finally like inside. I don't think he's spent any time. I think he was a late addition, maybe the last person to arrive at the party, and is just poking around the room, which is the front entrance to this manor. It's probably got a little bit of seating room. It's got some art. It's got some statues, all of which has been like sort of pushed out of the way, crowded around the edges of the place in order to make room for this golf cart. And Hercules has a unlit cigar and a Manhattan in the wrong kind of glass in one hand, and is just poking around the room. And sees an interesting looking book on the shelf and tries to pull it out, and a hidden platform in the center of the room that the golf cart happens to be sitting on begins to descend into the floor, taking the golf cart with it to who knows where.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
I think the way that I wrap the help into this is Hercules runs off to like find someone that works here that can help him find his golf cart.
Mm-hmm.
Terrific.
All right. And what would you like to do for your second action?
I'm going to add another beat. This one is going to be unconnected to anything. I can do that. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. This beat is Hercules wrestles the assault rifle out of Alistair's hands.
Oh, perfect. I didn't even have to say something fun to do is thematic parallels, but
Yeah.
Oh boy, something fun to do with thematic parallels.
I'm a man of the world. I've read books. All right, back to you, Morgan.
Amazing. For my beat, so did the hidden elevator leave anything notable behind?
A hole in the floor?
Yeah, maybe it's just a big inky black void going down now.
Perfect.
Like, logically, you should be able to look down there.
I am adding the beat coming off of that. Alistair stumbles into the foyer and falls into the hole left behind by
Oh
no! He is not drunk enough that you would assume that would happen, and yet, nevertheless.
Mm-hmm.
And for my next action... I would like to make a scene coming off of the argument Kris added. And the question... So, to play out a scene, choose a question you'd like answered by the end of the scene. This can be a detail about the world, how characters might react to a particular situation, or characters' feelings about something. Choose where on the timeline this is taking place and the characters you'd like to be in the scene. Scenes should always include at least 2 player characters, but anyone not in the scene can play NPCs if they'd like to. If you have an idea for a scene with only 1 character, that might be better played as a beat. With the players whose characters are in the scene, discuss where that scene is set, and then roleplay the conversation or action that follows that setup. Continue until you feel like you've answered the question as a group, then add the question-answer pairing to the flowchart like you would a beat. And the question I want to do is, after chasing down Alistair at the tool shed, what explanation does Kennedy give him beyond the snake superstitions? Does that work for you, Kris?
What answer for... Like, what for... Not...
I think Alistair is basically going to press Kennedy, like, you keep saying this. What do you mean? What snake?
Gotcha.
And I'm curious about Kennedy's, like, kind of the superstitions behind the superstitions, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sure. So then do scenes get the same...
Yes, so they wind up looking like
beats
on the timeline, but they're in question and answer form rather than summary.
Gotcha.
So yeah, after catching up to Alistair at the tool shed, what explanation for the snake size does Kennedy give him? I think to set the scene, Alistair is like in the tool shed. It's big. There's a lot of like random sports equipment and stuff. And he is digging through a like dusty corner of it surrounded by life jackets.
And yeah, I think like Kennedy entering the scene is from, you know, the camera is now like the point of view is from whatever corner Alistair is rifling through, and then just behind him, like through the door, you just see like Kennedy's eyes lit up, and then they open the door. They're just like, "Hey there, big dog. So Susan was like, hey, stay indoors, storm warning, and then you bolted. So what if we, you know, heed the
I need to
friendly and omnipotent voice?"
I just need to quickly grab this before heading back so that we can be safe from the storm. But also this can be safe from the storm.
You know what they say, strength in numbers, okay? And those numbers, back in the crib, you want to just, let's...
Well, the numbers will be good once I get back, once I get this, and then we'll all be good.
Yeah, man... I keep telling you, you gotta be careful about moving solo in this place, you know, like, just points at their eyes and then points at Alistair, you know, the, like, eyes are on you kind of thing.
What, you keep saying, what do you mean by that?
I don't know how much clearer I can get about, like, its eyes.
You could get a lot clearer. What snake? Like, you keep talking about the snake's eyes.
The whole world's a snake, man. So think. So
world is a snake?
Listen, think. Okay,
a speaker pops on, and Susan's voice says, "Hiss, hiss, hiss, hiss."
Right. Kennedy just sort of like nods along, like that made all of the sense in the world to them. They're like, you know, you just got to think about it. You know how, like the rain cycle, okay, life and death, like it all comes around like a snake. And
What?
but the snake should always be on the snake, but the snake's looking at you. It's not a circle where you're at. And things are always supposed to come back around on themselves.
What snake? Is it real? Is there really a big snake on the island?
Oh, there's lots. Yeah, big snakes, small snakes. It's not even just snakes. I mean, Janice's aunt brought a freaking tiger. That's new. I don't think there were any tigers here before that. But there's like other stuff. There's birds. Birds got eyes. Like everything's a snake. I really mean that. Plants are snakes. Like you gotta be careful. It's just, it's there's like a lot out there that could get you. So like you really gotta be careful about just like trying to head out on your own. You know what I mean?
Sure. I guess but if the snake's looking at me, would y'all not want me to be around?
The problem's already that it's not around, or that you're not round. See, because if it's like circles are round, right?
Does it just keep happening?
It just keeps going. Yeah,
oh
but like again, it just keeps going back to this. It always comes back to this. Mm-hmm.
I think if there's no, I think Alistair is able to stall until he finds the inexplicable canoe oar that he just carries with him, following Kennedy back to the house. Just increasingly enraptured by this non-explanation. And I think the answer for our scene prompt is nothing coherent.
Great.
Nothing coherent, but something about the universe being a snake.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Kris?
Yeah. Where do I... You know what? Since I can't decide, I'm going to draw cards about it.
Beautiful.
Motif deck. We know what that's going to be. That's Susan. Minor Arcana. I've got the Ace of Wands. Lots of aces. Lots of low number cards. So this is a secret is uncovered. Great. That's interrupted by a dangerous threat that involves an unexplainable event, or that strangely goes exactly as planned. Wonderful. Susan, what have you got in store for us? Secret is uncovered. Oh, okay. I am going to add a beat. And these beats have to be connected to things, yeah?
They do not have to.
Okay. Well, I'm still going to connect it at some point.
Eventually, we'll connect up all the beats, but for now...
Sure. I mean, like, we can... So if we connect... Like, if you connect a beat to a coda, can something later, like, get inserted between those two, or no?
It's not really within the rules and can make things pretty messy to do. But you can also just, like, put a coda next to it and strongly imply later you should connect them.
Gotcha. Okay. That is fine. I am going to add a beat of Kennedy, digging through the cooler of Hercules' golf cart.
Right.
Searching for, there's no ginger ale in here. Is there another cooler that I'm missing? Because there's got to be ginger ale in one of them. And, removing the cooler, uncovering the secret lockbox, and then getting distracted by a helicopter appearing overhead.
Great.
Okay. And then, for my next trick, I will... add a scene, add a link, add another coda, add a detail to another scene, add another beat, or add a new secret. I'm gonna add a beat. Yes, I'm gonna add another beat. Also unconnected from anything else. That is who do I want this to be? Because there's multiple ways where it's funny. You know what? I could always add another one. It's Alistair, facing off against a tiger.
Any thought on... Yeah, I mean, you don't have to add more details, but thoughts on what that facing off? Is it with a gun? Is it with the ore he grabbed from the tool shed?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, there's multiple ways, huh? I'll just kind of picture it, like, I'm picturing the bit from the, like, Jurassic World trailers where it's, like, Chris Pratt, standing like he's Steve Irwin at a raptor.
Yep.
That, but versus a tiger.
I love it. Completely undefended. All right.
That's me.
That's you.
I'm going to add an unconnected beat. Hercules receives a mysterious phone call from someone telling him to get out of the country.
Always good when that happens.
And then I'm going to add a detail. Do I have permission to do something bad to this tiger?
Yes. Or I guess this is Chris's tiger, so.
Yeah. We've got lines and bales around the animals, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this is big and cartoony enough that I feel okay with it.
Sure.
Maybe this is actually a new beat rather than a detail. Yeah, I'm going to make this a new beat, but I'm going to put it following the scene in the tool shed that just happened. On the way back from the tool shed, Alistair and Kenny find the back half of the tiger.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh. That was fast.
It's dangerous out there.
Yes.
You better watch out.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. I'm gonna add another beat coming off the curtain rise. Alistair whispers to, I think, Hercules. And the two of them head upstairs in the mansion to the office and bedroom of the reclusive owner of the island.
Excellent.
If that's good with you, Brendan.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to add another beat connected to... Yeah, I think the mysterious phone call. And you could choose if this inspires anything in you, secrets-wise. But I think I'm going to put before that, Alistair bashes the lock off of the secret lockbox in the golf cart.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can tell you exactly what you find inside of it.
Hell yeah.
Boy.
It is schematics for cars. You find what looks like a schematic for every popular car that's being driven on the road right now. Like the top
yeah.
50 most driven cars in the world are in the, or like regardless of who makes them, are in this safe.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
I also want to specify that to do this, he used the ore from the tool shed.
I see. Exciting.
All right. That's my turn.
Okie dokie. We still don't have the body. We still don't have the dead person.
Have the body. Have the body.
The dead person. I don't know why I said it that way.
No, I mean, it's a good... we don't have the body is discovered, you know.
Mm-hmm. This could be added. Let's see what we got here. Curtain rise. I can make branches in a different direction off of an existing coda, or do they have to go in one line? Like the one that has this turn at the
yeah,
scene,
you can
like,
branch off of earlier beats. That is how we make a cool web
timeline
with many endings.
All right. Cool beans.
This is the reason that the in-person version uses a corkboard and string.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
This makes sense to me. Okay. I'm going to add a beat, I think, branching off of that first argument between Janice and her aunt. I think this is... Kennedy was sent out to go and get Alistair back into the house because of the storm warning, and instead shows up with a tiger on which they've on the back of which they've put a body because it's heavy. And who is this who's died? We found a body. That's where they found the tiger, is with this body. But the body, I don't think, looks like it was mauled to death or anything. So unless tigers got way to kill you that don't involve claws and teeth.
Janice's aunt.
Oh no! Yeah, shit! Damn it!
Ooh.
Boom.
Hell yeah.
Hell yes.
Alrighty. We got us a beat. And then for a second thing. Yet another thing.
Oh, the tiger is carrying the body. That
Yeah,
rules.
yeah. Yeah, at first I was like, you can put it on top, but I actually kind of like it better if the tiger just has, the back of her shirt or something, just in its mouth, the way that you would carry a swollen tiger, just dragging her along the ground.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, I think I would like a scene coming before Kennedy is looking through the cooler in the golf cart. I should add golf cart cooler, just so I can remember what cooler that is. Which is for Brendan, a scene coming before that, the question of which is, what did they have to give Hercules? What did Kennedy have to give Hercules to be allowed to drive the golf cart, to be allowed in the golf cart?
Oh, sure. Where does this happen, do you think?
I
would love to see more of the inside of this weird house.
Yeah, more of the inside of this house. The golf cart's been driven somewhere else. Somewhere else within it. I think that this is on a pier, right? For people who got here by boat, which is probably not everyone. I don't know. These are wealthy people. They got lots of ways to get to places. But like for people who arrived here by boat, this is probably where they were dropped off. But it's empty here. And it's also down from the like foyer atrium of this house. So how did the golf cart get from up here to down here? Yeah. Don't worry about it. But like, Hercules has like driven it down here and is just sort of like looking out over the horizon, just seeing like these really like massive dark storm clouds in the distance, and it's like, yeah, those are coming for us, huh? And Kennedy just sort of like saunters up, and yeah, what did Kennedy have to give or promise Hercules to be able to go on the golf cart?
Look, Alistair's into me for a boatload of cash. He won't listen to me. And who could blame him? But you, they'll listen to you.
I mean, so the thing about Al listening to me is that we'd have to like talk, I think, for a little bit, probably one-on-one, and I just don't know if that's like super gonna work for me, energy wise, So I mean, like, there's gotta be something else, It's a big wide world, chock full of stakes. There's got to be other things that I have. Maybe I can get you for.
You want stakes? Check this out. Opens up a back compartment on the golf cart to reveal a full picnic supply of Omaha steaks, all vacuum sealed, ready to be deployed. Look at this. Opens up the cooler that we see later, and it is filled with like airplane sized bottles of liquors. Like the ice cubes in here are just the ice cubes to keep things cold, but they're still like fancy squares.
Like perfectly clear ice.
Check this out.
For no good reason.
Flips open a panel on the other side, and an OLED TV screen folds out. You can watch TikToks on this. I got it set up so you can watch TikToks on this.
Man, okay. Just, are you...
Is
it... So it's just... I gotta talk to your boy about what was it? It was...
He pays me back. You get to ride this thing around the rest of the vacation. He pays me back by the time we leave. You can keep it.
Or I just TikTok. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Only TikTok, no Instagram.
Nah, that's fine. Yeah. I got off Insta, Facebook. I just
off the grid. Undetectable. Yes.
Just a little bit of grit. Okay. Yeah. I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can.
A cigar? Yeah, take two.
Nah.
Take two for luck.
No. He just kind of like is like narrowing their eyes at Hercules.
Tries to like tuck them into the pocket of your shirt, but it's just a fake pocket that's like sewn up.
I think it's just like you're like looking for like a pocket on like because they've got like board shorts on, but they're board shorts, they don't have a pocket because they're meant to be worn in the water. So you're just like looking for one, and there's just not, and so you just like I just picture Hercules just like going for where there should be one. And there isn't, so he just like drops the cigar. And there's just cigars on the ground by Kennedy's feet now.
Susan does chime in with a "Go ahead and take them."
Yeah, okay, I can. You know what? Maybe this
Hey,
will. Maybe
yeah,
these
there you
will,
go. That's an inn.
Yeah. Picks them up and just, like, doesn't know where to put them, has no pockets.
You can thread them into your belt loops, maybe.
I don't have...
These are elastic. You
dog.
can tie them. You can tie one to each of your cords.
Nah. You
know
know what? I'm gonna just hold on to them. You know what? It's fine. It's cool. I'll catch you later with an update,
You catch me.
I'm gonna call dibs on one of those steaks. I'm gonna call dibs.
You want
save them for me?
All right.
Ha!
Puts away on the cart.
Yeah, we both start, because this was like a dock right up here, like it's just the one lane, so like we're both leaving in the same direction, and then you just like, but like the golf cart doesn't go faster enough than Kennedy that like you're just like gone, so we're just right there. Okay, all right, that's my answer.
Beautiful.
And then I connect these. Boop. Alright, that's my turn.
Okay. I'm going to add another unconnected beat. Can you add beats between pre-existing beats?
If you very much want to.
Oh, you've already
amend the rules to allow that. Yeah. But okay, perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to add this unconnected, which is Alistair, Kennedy, and Hercules return to the dining room and find Janice dead.
Ooh.
I think that's a good all-purpose beat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to add a new coda.
Ooh.
This coda is called...
Do you want to read the whole thing for that,
Morgan? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Do you want to read that, Morgan?
Yeah. Yes, follow the same process. To create a new coda, follow the same process as you did during the setup phase while creating codas. Optionally draw a minor arcana card, describe an ending to the story, name it, and place it on the game map far from the curtain rise. However, you should consider how this coda fits into the rest of the timeline, and whether you're retreading any already explored ideas. Additionally, you can feel free to directly connect the new coda using a link to something already on the flowchart, if you think the timeline as played out is on the verge of ending.
Yeah, I don't think this is immediately connectable.
Yeah, I don't think anything we have is approaching an ending.
I'll come up with a name for this last, but the scene is in 20 years. No. 1 year in the future, officials visit the island and find the house in ruins and all human residents gone. However, they find over a dozen tigers living on the island. I'll name this Back to Basics.
Hell yeah.
Normal.
Very normal. Extremely normal behavior. I'm gonna add a beat coming off of... Yeah, this is how I want to do this. After knocking on the door several times, Alistair and Hercules force open the door of the office to find the reclusive owner of the island dead at his desk.
No!
Who do we think is the island's owner? Let's describe him a little bit.
Sure.
Someone that everybody calls either like everybody calls them the same thing, like like dad, uncle, grandpa, like something like that, and it's just like, how are you related? You can't be that to all of those people.
Ooh, yeah. What if it's just like Uncle Thrall?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I dig it.
I think I'm going to specify shot in the back of his head.
Oof. R.I.P. that man.
And I'm also... Okay, I'm not going to connect it, but I am going to drag this over here to imply maybe this is the same timeline, but we do need to get Kennedy out of the room for this to make sense. But I'm also going to add a beat here. Uncle Thrall grumpily opens the door and has a terse conversation with Alistair and Hercules about the oncoming storm. And that's also coming off of the same beat.
Nice.
Nice. I'm gonna go back to the cards.
Love a card.
Flip and
Love a
shuffle.
card pull. There's a reason it's in the game.
Yeah. I love to make things a little random. So my motif deck draw, it's the eyes again. You know, they're always there. And I've got the 10 of Wands. Okay. So 10 is a moment of contemplation and Wands that is interrupted by a dangerous threat that involves an unexplainable event or that strangely goes exactly as planned. I think I'm going to go with the that involves an unexplainable event. I think this beat is after Alistair falls into the hole left by the elevator.
Oh, yeah.
Scooching that away. I think it's after wandering for a while. He comes across a den / lair hideout setup where someone has it looks like someone's been living there, I think, but it's not attached to the rest of the house. It's attached underground, but it's clearly not as lavish and everything as the rest of the house.
Right. This is like a hive.
Yeah, a little hideaway. Okay.
Sick.
Yeah, I think the bad luck there is just that you're lost for a long time. You're getting further and further from things that seem spaces that seem built and constructed. That elevator shaft, someone probably dug it. Out here, it's this is just raw stone. This is, you can hear water, dripping and trickling somewhere, a stalagmite is forming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Alrighty. And then the second thing I want to do is, can you only have things branch out further and further, or can you have multiple beats converge to another beat?
You can definitely have multiple beats converge to another beat, but it's the kind of thing you have to talk about a little bit to make sense if you're interpreting every arrow as linear time.
Sure. Gotcha.
And it might make more sense to try and put them all in line rather than having something split.
Yeah, because the thing I was looking at was making a link between Kennedy digging through the golf cart and finding the lockbox, connecting that to Hercules receives a mystery phone call.
Yeah. So my thought would be, if you want it to be in this exact same timeline as Alistair bashing the lock off,
then just put
you
it
could
before.
connect to that instead, or you could just have two universes where Hercules gets a mysterious phone call.
Yeah.
That is true. It could go ahead. Yeah, because Kennedy doesn't open the lockbox there, just finds it, which could lead to Alistair bashing it open.
Mm-hmm.
Although
you could even do a beat between those.
Yeah.
that connects to both of them. That's basically like Kennedy offhandedly mentions the lockbox to
Yeah,
Alistair.
Actually, yeah, I might do that. I can just shift things around.
Yeah.
Then maybe the beat I can put it.
That's the power of Miro.
Pardon?
I said that's the power of Miro.
That's why we love it. Then I'm going to create a second beat. And I think that second beat is it is Kennedy trying to make good on this deal with Hercules, trying to get Alistair to pay Hercules back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how successful they are in that, but at some point in that conversation, they... Well, hang on now, because I'm trying to figure out where the... You know what? We'll figure out how that gets there later, because... Yep, time. It's fine. Because I'm like, how do they mention...
Do interesting things now, make it make sense later.
That's absolutely true. That's just a thing that's true. Kennedy talks to Alistair about paying back Hercules. Mentions the secret compartments in the golf cart. And yeah, I guess we don't have to figure out if they were successful in getting Alistair to pay Hercules back here.
Yes.
All right.
And did you want to connect that up directly to the cooler?
I just wasn't sure which side of that, whether I wanted to connect it to the scene or to Kennedy digging through the cooler. Because Kennedy knows that there's secret compartments, but I'm like, how would they know about the thing under the cooler until they've been allowed to be in the car because they've already convinced Alistair? So it's...
Yeah.
There's things going in different directions, so I think I'm good with this for now.
Okay, cool.
And that's my turn.
Okay. I'm going to add a beat after Alistair finds the hidey hole, which is Hercules tries to get Janice to help him get the staff to get him back his golf cart. What do we think Janice is like? We haven't really said a whole lot about Janice Thrall yet.
I've been thinking of her as, like, rich. She's one of those people who's really, like, is nice because they're rich, I was thinking, and just, like, yeah, of course I can, like, lend you $50 and hang out with you anytime because I have no responsibilities to care about in my life.
Right, okay.
But Janice is also apparently the kind of person who will invite a whole bunch of people who maybe don't get along to the same place for the same time. Like, oh, you know, I'm sure it'll just, like, work out. If everybody just gets in a room and they just hash it out,
exactly.
We'll work things through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janice insists she will help after the party and not before. And tells Hercules to calm down and enjoy himself.
Mm-hmm.
Straightforward.
Yeah.
Oh, I had something. I completely forgot what it was. Let me look at the list of actions. Oh, I know what it is. I want to play out a scene. I would like it to be Alistair and Hercules and Uncle Thrall. Chris, if you're alright with it, I would love for you to play Uncle Thrall.
Sure. I will be the most crotchety.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is Alistair and Hercules asking why we can't just sell this stupid island.
Yeah, I think after Uncle Thrall grumpily opens up the door, leaves it for the two of you to walk in and says, "Close it behind you. There's a draft out there. Grumble, grumble, grumble. Storm something, grumble."
Mm-hmm. Hercules does not close it.
He just, glares at you.
Look, Alistair, close the door.
Alistair just shrugs and gently closes the door so that no one else in the house can hear.
No.
Why? Every single year we have this conversation. Every single year. Storm, storm, storm. Snake, snake, snake. Why can't we just get rid of this place? Alistair, back me up. This place ain't doing us any good. It gets older every year. It gets worse every year. Everybody hates coming here.
I like coming here.
You live here.
No, I don't.
I got that wrong. I thought I got that mixed up.
It's okay. I know you're getting into your old age.
Okay, Buster. You like coming here because you don't do shit to maintain them.
I volunteer.
Neither do you.
All of us of a generation.
And you're terrible at it. Before either of you says another word, the answer was no last year, it was no the year before that. It's no now. I'm not doing that to Susan. Poor old girl. And just sort of pats a wall of the room.
Looks at Alistair with the raised eyebrows. It's like, look, I understand you got history with the place, but sometimes you got to say goodbye. Sometimes it's time to lay things to rest. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Lay things to rest. Is that what you call your whole? I'm leaving. I'm striking out on my own. I'm going wherever the hell it is you went all those years. You just want to do that again.
Arizona. It's called Arizona, Thrall. It's a real place. It exists on maps. I've shown it to you.
He scoffs like he always does at the, just says under yeah, just
at the notion of Arizona.
Like he can't imagine a place would ever be called that.
Hercules holds his gin martini to his head as if he's using it to relieve stress. Alistair, please talk some sense to the old man.
Oh yeah, have Alistair do it. That'll go great.
Yeah.
He just is looking straight at you, Alistair.
Alistair just kind of winks and says, "Anytime."
I swear to God. All right, Thrall. I'm gonna come back up here. I'm gonna come back up here with a better accomplice. We're gonna talk some sense into you.
Yeah.
You want me to bring you a drink?
What are you having?
I'm having down to the gin martini. I'm having vodka martini.
Give me a glass of milk.
Glass of milk. All right. You gonna stay up here? You coming to the party?
No. It's too much for me down there.
You want to play backgammon later?
Backgammon. Yeah.
Yeah. Put a little money on it?
Money? All right, I get. I'm old. I'm not that old.
All right.
Get out of here with your money. Grumbles. As you leave, he's grumbling something about betting and backgammon.
Yeah. Hercules leaves first and then closes the door before Alistair leaves.
Yeah, I mean, this is as good a time as any for me to flip my secret, actually.
What? Oh, no.
I drew the lovers, and the secret I wrote at the start of the game is sleeping with the owner of the island.
No! Oh, no!
Oh my god!
Oh, I hate it. Oh no.
I was
Oh
thinking of
my
having
God.
how to subtly leave Alistair in the room, but you just did it for me. Thank you.
Oh my god.
Great. Terrific. Disgusting.
Thank you, everyone. So this now becomes part of the motif deck. It'll get shuffled in the next time we reshuffle it, and I'm adding another sticky note up at the top so that we remember it.
Great.
Alrighty. That was Brendan's turn? Whose turn was that? Was that Brendan's turn?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was me.
I just remembered the snake emoji. Okay.
Yep. I really love its eyes on the same side of its face.
Gotta watch out. It's watching you.
Yeah,
Sure
it's
is.
not snake eye, it's snake eyes, plural.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. It's Snake's
Excuse
eyes.
me.
Snake's eyes. Thank you.
Those are the
Yeah,
snake's
yeah,
eyes.
yeah.
Yep.
How are we feeling about time?
My thought would be one more round.
I think one more round would go down great.
Yeah, sounds good.
Hell yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm going to a beat. And this will be actually connecting two of our free floating beats. One on each side.
A twofer.
Yeah.
Creating a chain like a snake.
Exactly.
Snakes are famously made of chains.
Yeah.
Snakes are made of beets.
Really, all of the Invisible Labyrinth is just making lots of different snakes.
It basically is.
Yeah.
Good.
So we've got Alistair facing off against a tiger. Hercules rushes into the room, knocking over the taxidermy tiger in the process, having finally found where Alistair is hiding in the second basement, which goes into Hercules wrestles the assault rifle out of Alistair's hands.
Great. Okay. Normal.
Oh my gosh.
I'm going to add a beat here with your permission, Chris. Having noticed, so this is coming off of Alistair falling into the hole.
Mm-hmm.
Having noticed Alistair's absence at the still ongoing party, Kennedy follows him into the foyer and also falls into the hole. If that's good with you.
Yeah, sure. That's very
Beautiful.
silly. Okay. I am up. Boo. What is a beat? Going back to the cards. My best friends. The Hanged Man, the staff. And all those cups. That's 7 cups. Which is a break to rest and recover. That makes an opportunity vanish. That brings everything we knew into question, or that opens a secret door. Ooh. Break to rest and recover. That also involves the staff. Okay, alright. Where are we? What do we got? Who's where?
Oh, can I make a architectural suggestion?
Sure.
I mentioned previously upstairs, downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
What if all the staff's quarters and facilities and ways of getting around the place are actually like above all of the fancy ornate stuff.
Sure.
Like they're actually like, so they can actually like look down on us as we're doing all of this stuff and like observe like, oh yeah, they're up to some nonsense.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Hell yeah.
Okay. So that's that's good and fun. What was the thing again? A break to rest and recover. There's a couple places this could go.
Is this like, we said that it involves the staff, but it doesn't necessarily have to be them relaxing. Is this like the party finally starts and we're being served?
I was wondering if this was just a beat directly off the curtain rise that is just like the best version of this party as Janice planned, you know what I mean?
Sure. That could go off the curtain rise, or it could go off Janice telling Hercules to like settle down and enjoy the party.
True. Oh yeah, I always forget. I still gotta pick the second part of that. Minor Arcana prompt that makes an opportunity vanish, that brings everything we knew into question, or that opens a secret door. Let's vanish an opportunity. That's fun.
Yeah.
What's over here? Ooh, okay. Yes. I'm going to put here. I'm gonna put a beat that is how do I put this? Maybe like once the party's kind of in full swing, right? Like not in the middle of it, but once it seems like, some people have started being like, all right, it's been several hours, I'm gonna go sleep or something, and, just wait for the storm to wash past us. Janice does, true to her word, go to the foyer to try to help Hercules, gets one of the house staff to try to help Hercules get his car back. Hercules, takes them to the bookcase that he pulled the book on and just pulls the book straight off the bookcase. It's just a regular book.
Oh. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay. There. And boop, that goes there. Okay, and then a second thing. Yet another thing. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, so funny. Boop, 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 boop.
I often find that drawing a new secret for my character is a really good thing to do when I'm pretty blocked.
Yeah.
Creatively.
Okay.
Just because it adds more sauce
to
the
good.
Pasta.
Sure.
I
Love pasta.
lost control of that metaphor.
Love pasta.
But you get it.
Huh.
This is so is this a second secret or does it?
Yes.
Okay, second
So
separate
you'll draw
thing.
a new Major Arcana card after reading it and place it face down in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then just write a new secret for yourself.
Okay.
The other nice thing about this is that you have essentially unlimited time to think about it, especially if this is our last round for this session.
That is true. Okay, yeah, I've done that. I've drawn a second card, and I'm just going to be thinking about that in the background.
Alrighty.
Back to you, Brendan.
I am going to add a scene I'm going to add a beat I'm going to add a beat before Alistair wrestles the small hand pistol out of Hercules' hands.
Ooh.
And that is Hercules discovers the flaming wreckage of the golf cart, picks the pistol up off the ground.
Oh, good. Good instincts, Alistair. I think everyone would die.
Yeah. And then... I'm going to add a beat after the scene of Hercules and Alistair and Thrall. After Alistair leaves the room, Thrall places a single silver coin on the base of a statue of a snake. The snakes on the open mouth of a statue of a snake. A moment later, a hidden mechanism gobbles up the coin and it disappears.
This house is the world's most elaborate piggy bank.
Hell yeah. All right. I think that's
something for sure.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, so if we need to leave the game and come back at another date or time, which it seems like we do, this is the time for us to take a grand pause. Because of the nature of this game, just gesturing at our big timeline already.
This is a little nuts.
It's what?
It's a little bit nuts.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, it's good, but it is nuts.
It can be a little complex, so here's some advice for how to break this game into multiple sessions. Take notes, do this individually. Most importantly, write down your character's secrets, and how they feel about different things across different points in your game's map. It can be a little difficult to keep several different versions of a character's story in your head at once, so don't be afraid to write down something that seems obvious to you now. Share information. Don't be afraid to tell other players where you were thinking of going with a particular plot point or mystery. When taking a break, it can be helpful to put some things out on the table for everyone to stew on until the next session. Make sure you're on the same page about the big questions, especially if you feel like you have an answer you're sure of, but haven't said out loud yet. Any thoughts on that as we take some of our notes? I don't really have anything I'm certain about. In fact, I have no idea why Alistair was grabbing the ore from the tool shed. I'm excited to find that out. I
have the implication of big dangerous snake out there. I'm happy to discover if that's true or false. I have no idea how we get to many different tigers in the future, and I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, I have some ideas for that.
Right.
I think either people are turning into tigers, or it turns out that there are enough tigers to make a breeding pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kennedy could have been wrong about there not being any other tigers here.
Yeah.
Many tigers, one timeline.
My favorite Lucia movie.
Very distinctly many timelines, but good effort.
Yeah,
My favorite Lucia movie.
Exactly.
Chris. Yeah.
I think I'm good so far. I'm gonna be mulling over the Kennedy talking to Alistair, getting in the golf cart, but telling Alistair about the golf cart. I feel like that's going to occupy a lot of my
It did sound to me at
thoughts.
the end of the scene that Hercules, like, okayed Alistair, or okayed Kennedy to, like, use it in order to get over to Alistair, but...
okay. I didn't read that. I think...
Could merit worth some thinking, puzzling that out. You can also break a link as needed.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Next up for the Grand Pause, figure out how to preserve the board state. Thank you very much, Miro.
Yep.
Shout out to Miro.
When returning to the game, don't feel bad about asking for clarifications or reminders. This is really important when picking the game back up. Don't hesitate to ask questions, or make sure that everyone's still on the same page about established parts of the game. It's easy to forget things, and there's usually a lot going on, but also, if nobody remembers something, it doesn't matter. If nobody at the table can remember the answer to a question you had asked last time, or nobody can quite get the board exactly how they remember it, that's okay. Figure out an answer or a solution you enjoy now. It's not that important if it matches up perfectly with what you said before. After all, if it was something that was interesting and exciting, someone would probably remember it. All right, that's it for now. I am thinking I'm going to split this. I'm going to publish this as 2 episodes.
Cool.
See you later, audience. Any
Ciao.
final thoughts?
Excited to see what's next.
Yeah, much like the eventual audience of this, I also can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah, I hope the audience cares at all.
Yeah. Morgan, this game rules. This is excellent. I'm having a lot
Thank
of fun
you.
playing it.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to stop my screen recording now.
Okie dokie.
Thank you so much for listening to episode 1 of The Invisible Labyrinth. Episode 2 is coming soon if it's not already out. And once again, the game is available at wedidtheTimeWarpAgain.itch.io.